Hello and welcome. Today I want to show you another Gemini feature, and this is notebooks. Now, hopefully Google will, I don't know, work on how they name some of these things because I don't know how to differentiate across these different things. So not like if you click on the plus here, like not notebooks here, but that is also very interesting. And if you haven't watched that video, you should watch that video. But not that, and not notebooks and gems, which is also a different video, which you should watch. Neither of those things. There's another feature that is within Gemini. If you expand the left menu, well, let me go backwards. If you just go to gemini.google.com, you get to here. And this is just the, I don't know, homepage for Gemini. You'll have to log in to something, free account. This is a plus account. One thing worth noting is that I don't have this on, the only account I have this on is my plus account. So you might not see it on the free account. I don't have it on my pro account, which is a higher tier than plus. So I don't know if they're testing the feature. I don't know how they're really rolling this out. I honestly just found this very recently, so I haven't played around with it much. But once you go gemini.google.com and then you expand the menu on the left, you may have this notebooks option here. This was not here before. And just to show you the difference, like you can see up here, this is a plus account. If I switch over to a pro account, which you can see right here, and I do the same thing, I just expand the menu, I don't have notebooks over here. So, and again, this is a higher tier account. This is tied to like our Google Workspace or a business account and whatever. The plus account is, I don't even know why we have this. This is to something else, but plus is a tier down from pro, and I don't have this on my pro account. So you might not see this. If you do see this though, let's keep going. If you click on this, this is now very similar to projects in Claude or projects in ChatGPT. Perplexity has something, they might also call it projects. But basically, you can create a notebook, and then you can come into it and you can add one or more sources. I don't know what the limit is. And then you can basically have a normal Gemini interface. You can prompt, you can, attach things here. You can use all the tools you could normally, use. You can use the same models, etc. And then whatever chats you do will be contained to this notebook. Like it's like a folder. It's a container for stuff. And you can put different sources to add context, and then you can use old chats for context, and then you can just have kind of a segmented environment within Gemini. And very similar to projects if you've used them in Claude or ChatGPT. The difference here, and it's hopefully obvious by now, is this is linked to NotebookLM. So it's like I didn't create this in Gemini. This is actually, if I go over to NotebookLM, this is the same account, my plus account, and I don't really use this one that much because I have my pro account where that's where most of my notebooks are. But this is my notebook LM, and I have this notebook here. It's the only one I have, but like this actually syncs, the wrong one. This actually syncs with Gemini. So any notebook that I create in NotebookLM now will just appear here in Gemini, and then I can now go into those notebooks, and there are lots of things that you can do in Gemini that you can't do in NotebookLM. Also made a video about that, and it's like image generation, video generation, music generation, dictation, model selection. There's a bunch of stuff. But if what you had to do before was either take artifacts from NotebookLM and download them and then like upload them to Gemini here and then do everything. Like you could do it, but it was kind of clunky. And then when they changed Gemini, where you could actually just do a NotebookLM notebook here, that made it a little bit better. And this was like a month ago, but like that made it a little bit better. But then you had to choose the entire notebook. now they sync the notebook. So now it's like you can, I don't know, like I said, it's kind of different. It's interesting. You can come in here, you can go into the notebook settings, you can turn on or off the memory so you don't have to use the other chats. So that would be, I don't have any in here because I haven't used this yet, but if I had different chats that were going, I can just choose not to use them as contacts. If I just uncheck this here, and then like the other projects in Claude and ChatGPT, I can add instructions on how I want to handle this. So it says in here, I can like set the tone that is used in responses. I can say how I want responses formatted. I can say keep this concise, keep this like Eli 5, make it extremely verbose, add a joke at the end, whatever it is. So I can add custom instructions in here, and then it'll apply it to every chat that I have. But then it'll use the sources from NotebookLM. So it's like right here, I have one source. So if I go to NotebookLM and I go into the same notebook, I have one source. So now let me add a source in here. So go here and let me just add a random. I'm just going to add a slide deck that I used in a different video. It doesn't matter. So I'm only in NotebookLM. I just added it here. I haven't touched Gemini. So now if I go back to Gemini, and I might have to go out and back in. So I'm just going to stay in Gemini and just go to a new chat and then come back here. Okay, so that actually took I don't know, 30 seconds. But I added the source in NotebookLM, and then I came back to Gemini, and then waited about 30 seconds, and I come back into the notebook, and now there's two sources. I didn't add this in Gemini. I only added this in NotebookLM here, and this synced. I mean, so that's interesting. So now I don't have to actually go in like one at a time and like add the source to both of them and whatever. These actually sync back and forth. And again, if I add more notebooks in NotebookLM, they'll just show up here. So let me test that and come back in here, and I'll go to NotebookLM and I'll create a new notebook, and don't need any sources, and we'll just make this Gemini test, and we'll leave that, and then we will go back to Gemini, and I'll probably have to give it a second. Yeah. Okay, so I just came back and I just hit the refresh on the page, and now there's Gemini test. Again, I didn't make this in Gemini. I only made this in NotebookLM, and now it's here. Now, I didn't add any sources, but I mean, I can also do that in this direction. So I'll come into this now, and again, in NotebookLM, Gemini test, this pops up because I don't have any sources, and there's no sources over here. Right? So if I come into files and I add, I'll do the same slide deck because I'm just going to delete these when I'm done, and we'll let that load. Okay, so now the slide deck is here in Gemini, and I have one source. If I come back to NotebookLM, I don't even have to refresh. Slide deck's already here. So these are synced. So now you have NotebookLM and Gemini synced with each other. And again, I can just take whatever notebooks I have from NotebookLM and then use the Gemini tools with them, or use the chats that I have in this container within Gemini. Again, I haven't really played around with this that much, but from what I've seen, it looks like Claude projects or ChatGPT projects, but a huge advantage of having the sync with NotebookLM. So if you use those tools, which I know a lot of us do now, that can be really, really useful. So again, if you go to gemini.google.com, and then again, you're starting from here, you expand the left menu, and you may have a notebooks option here now. Again, you might not. If I just, again, look on my pro account, I don't have it here, and my free account doesn't have it. So I only right now have it on my plus account. I don't have an ultra account, so I don't know what that looks like. So you may not see this yet. And I don't know what their rollout plan is. Google is kind of weird with how they test things, but I'm assuming that soon enough, everyone will have this notebook option, and this will sync directly with NotebookLM. You can add sources on either side, and it will eventually appear on the other one. Again, you may have to refresh just to get it to show up, but once you have a notebook created, you can go in, you can turn the memory on or off, which will use the existing chat for context. You can add sources, and you can use whatever Gemini tools you want. You can use whatever Gemini models you want. And yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there are a lot of possibilities. So I mean, I may end up making follow-up videos once I kind of play around with it a little bit more. But hopefully that's interesting to you. So try it out, and we'll see you next time.